Okay, everybody, how is it going? It's me, your best buddy Basil, and I am only slightly worse off than I was on Friday. I'm all hopped up on that Dayquil. I know. I shouldn't do that, but the show must go on. So here I am. My ears are about half-mast today. They're all stuffed up. So if you hear me yelling, going, huh? What? That's what that is. Hopefully some of the listeners will appreciate having to repeat some of our finer points here. Susie Cute over on Rumble says, I hope you're feeling better, Basil. Thank you very much. I'm not, but it means a lot that you would say so. Thank you. Got the Racing Heart saying howdy over on Rumble. Shano Vision holding strong on the Twitch. Thank you, Shano Vision. Over on YouTube, Nancy M's, Sandra K, Denise, Mike. What's up, everybody? Oh, you know what I should do? I should send out the text message. Here it goes. It's nice and ready. Press the send button. All right. It's twirling. There we go. Text message sent. So, all those wonderful Canarians out there who have not tuned in yet, they should be receiving a message to their phone any second now that will remind them that the show is going live. If you want to get on the text message alert system, we highly recommend it. It's been common practice for the big tech companies to not notify our followers. In fact, even our email list, only about 20% of the emails every episode make it to the inbox of the people who signed up on purpose to receive the newsletter. That's just the world that we live in, folks. We are bound by the whims of the techno oligarchs. But if you want to receive the text message, text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. That's Canary to 877-740-3226. And, that text message alert system also has its own bugs, but it's the best we can do right now. That's what we're working on. What we're working with. Okay, folks, the timer has run out. The show. It's time to do the show. Let's go ahead and do it. Remember, there's still time to produce the show. Go to canarycry.support. All right, let's go.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is October 30th, 2023. We are live to tape on episode 683, and today, APPLIFIED Arena. Signing on from off the grid, Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy Basil, and you are not crazy.
And my name is Gonz, director of the Age of Deceit Films, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, live to tape from California to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And today's emergent phenomena is a hashtag farewell October. Hello, well, we're about to get into Nonsense November. That's right. 12 months from the elections. It'll be just nonsense from here. And by the way, have you noticed that September, sept, is 7, but it's the 9th month? October, oct, is 8, like octagon, but it's the 10th month. And then November, nov is 9, but it's the 11th month. It just keeps going. Dec is 10, but it's the 12th month. What happened?
Mind control intensifies.
It was actually... I think it was Numa Pompilius in 713 BC that added January and February and messed up the whole thing.
Oh, is that true?
Apparently. Huh. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not a grand conspiracy. It's just bad mathing.
Well, I don't blame them for it. Times were different back then. You could mess around with numbers and there'd be nobody there to call you on it. That's the whole thing.
That's
now
true.
We have that pesky thing called the internet, keeping the world's elite sort of accountable. It hasn't changed their behavior, but at least we can all count those peasants back in the day. You know, they were not big counters. But folks, that's a topic for a different show. Today, we got some great, over the weekend additions to human history. As you can tell, I am still a little bit on the sick side, but I have taken my Dayquil, the mind control serum of the elites, and so things are bound to get wobbly this episode. So it's probably more important than ever we go ahead, hit that disclaimer.
It's time for a disclaimer.
Now listen up, YouTube.
That's right. And just for all the content moderators and censorship managers out there, be they robots or humans, everything you hear on this show comes directly from the mainstream corporate news media. We do not claim to be experts on healthcare, geopolitics, military strategy, corporate law, or the moral and ethical implications of any of these topics, nor do we implicitly or explicitly support or subscribe to any sources or narratives containing misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation, as defined by the Department of Homeland Security. We're good boys. All right, YouTube, we're good boys.
All right, and let me give you a rundown.
Oh, look, here's Basil.
Let me bring you up to speed.
We're starting out with the executive order from the Biden administration regarding AI. And, it's an interesting thing to review, but the mainstream reporting on the AP Newswire about the circumstances surrounding the conception of this executive order are absolutely hilarious. You have to wonder if there's some campaign to make good old Biden look even sillier than he already does. But then we'll be checking in over with the Italians. Yes, just a little bit of social data on the most common age for males to leave the home. Some of those will surprise you, and I think it fits nicely into some of the broader social engineering we've been seeing. Then Flippy. We are introducing the trimmed helicoid soft robot arm based on the elephant's trunk, but more interestingly, we'll be dissecting the article that is exposing this beast system robot arm to the world. Then, don't you fret, folks. We'll be giving you an update on the Israel-Gaza situation, catching up on a little bit of the stories, but also on some of the stories you might not have heard and how that fits into the Canary cry analysis of the whole situation. Then, of course, we got to fit in some sewer surveillance. Watch out, people using your phone on the toilet. And then at the end of the show, Goldie Hawn says an ET touched her, and it felt like the finger of God. More on that at the end of the show. But first, Guns, our lead stories.
Artificial intelligence.
You want to destroy humans?
Okay, I will destroy humans.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people's zoo.
This is the United States of America, for God's
Got
sake.
hairy legs. Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs. Hairy. Got hairy legs. Hairy.
COVID.
They all want to share their death.
Joe Biden has his updates on AI. I'm glad that Joe is making moves. I feel more comfortable about the future of AI.
Sure.
We need to really make sure that it's fostered in a proper way.
He alone.
Yes,
he alone is equipped with the knowledge, the wisdom, and the know-how to guide America and the world into the AI technocratic future.
Yeah, Joe made it very clear early on what the AI thing was about.
This is not about freedom for personal choice.
Yes. It's a headline here from AP. Biden wants to move fast on AI safeguards and will sign an executive order to address his concerns.
I love it. for the Democratic Party, the party that is so concerned with the dismantling of our democratic norms, executive orders flying hither and yon, executive order itself being sort of the least democratic way to govern. That's the closest thing you can get from like an American emperor.
Right, American dictator, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
President Joe Biden on Monday will sign a sweeping executive order to guide the development of artificial intelligence, requiring industry to develop safety and security standards, introducing new consumer protections, and giving federal agencies an extensive to-do list to oversee the rapidly progressing technology. Hey, more bureaucracy, please. That's all we need. The order reflects the government's effort to shape how AI evolves in a way that can maximize its possibilities and contain its perils.
Yes, that's the Biden administration containing perils across the world.
AI has been a source of deep personal interest for Biden. Deep personal interest with its potential to affect the economy and national security.
Deep personal interest, yes. Joe Biden, famous for just pondering the future of the technocratic utopia. He can't stop from sitting on the toilet and imagining a future where AI could be doing all this pesky heavy lifting as president and doing the governing for him.
Well, they asked him how much time he needs. He needs a lot of time.
Need time.
All right, so the article continues here. White House Chief of Staff Jeff Zients recalled Biden giving his staff a directive to move with urgency on the issue, having considered the technology a top priority. Quote, "We can't move at normal government pace," Zients said, the Democratic president told him. Quote, "We have to move as fast, if not faster than the technology itself." Now,
what?
Okay.
What?
Now, there's a sentiment in Silicon Valley. Hold on, buddy. About move fast, break stuff, and then just kind of figure it out as you go.
Right.
That approach was sort of what made Silicon Valley great. They would just do things, throw things on the wall, see what sticks. But then there's
famous Mark Zuckerberg quote that made Facebook what it is, and indeed sort of made Silicon Valley. That idea has governed sort of the unfolding of our current technological landscape, which means basically the quality of life, the lifestyle for every single human being came out of this move fast and break things. And somebody might be tempted to think that that's an exaggeration, but it really is not. I mean, every day, every moment you come in contact with social media or even your phone, you are affected by the Mark Zuckerberg move fast and break things. And so Biden, infamously fast mover and sharp thinker, and of course we've seen him break many a thing.
Oh, he's broken stuff for sure.
He wants to move. Look, Zients' quote, "We can't move at normal government pace." Like, okay, I get what that means. And like, sort of your normal, I would say, thinking, deep thinking conservative type person would prefer that the government move slow. That's actually kind of preferable. And it's kind of written into the code of the American political system is like, hey, we move things very slow because that's how you stop tyranny. But to switch gears and say we have to move faster than AI itself,
how do you do that?
Are you talking about?
How would you do that? You become AI.
You got to put AI in charge of the governing. I think that is kind of the secret message coming through.
Yeah. It says here, in Biden's view, the government was late to address the risks of social media, and now U.S. youth are grappling with related mental health issues. Oh, I didn't know that he understood all that. That's pretty crazy.
They were not late to address the risks. The government benefited.
Not only did they benefit, they helped build it. AI has the positive ability to accelerate cancer research, model the impacts of climate change, of course, boost economic output, and improve government services, among other benefits. But it could also warp basic notions of truth with false images, deepen racial and social inequalities, and provide a tool to scammers and criminals. Yeah, kind of like the U.S. dollar or a Bic pen.
I like how it says AI has the positive ability to do all these positive things, but could also, and then a bunch of bad things. The could there is has and does. It does.
It does do.
Basic
Yeah.
notions of truth.
Yeah.
It has deepened racial and social inequality.
Yeah. And yes, all these things are
Not to
already
mention the
sort of
scammers
happening.
and criminals.
Yeah. The order builds on voluntary commitments already made by technology companies. It's part of a broader strategy that administration officials say also includes congressional legislation and international diplomacy, a sign of the disruptions already caused by the introduction of new AI tools such as ChatGPT that can generate new text, images, and sound. Using the Defense Production Act, the order will require leading AI developers to share safety test results and other information with the government. The National Institute of Standards and Technology is to create standards to ensure AI tools are safe and secure before public release. The Commerce Department is to issue guidance to label and watermark AI-generated content to help differentiate between authentic interactions and those generated by software. The order also touches on matters of privacy, civil rights, consumer protections, scientific research, and worker rights. So it's got a bunch of more details here, but
all very impotent sort of matters.
It's
having to put a watermark to say something is AI generated. Sure, I'm sure all the criminals and scammers and meme trolls and everybody's really.
We can't do our thing anymore. We have to watermark our AI, or the government's going to be mad. It says later down here, Biden was profoundly curious about the technology in the months of meetings that led up to drafting the order. He was profoundly curious.
That's a very polite way of saying that Grandpa was confused by
so
AI.
Confused. I'm sure it looked like magic to him, though. You know what I mean?
Totally. And this is the problem across the government, and has been the problem for a while, and is kind of the reason why independent media was able to get a foot in the door, is because these 80-year-olds who are running the country, running the media, running the
banks, the whole deal,
the whole machine. The idea of a podcast, people actually paying attention to a podcast, was just not even. Nobody told them. They just had no way of even knowing that it was happening until it was too late.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, he was profoundly curious. His Science Advisory Council focused on AI at 2 meetings, and his cabinet discussed it at 2 meetings. The president also pressed tech executives and civil society advocates about the technology's capabilities at multiple gatherings. Quote, "He was as impressed and alarmed as anyone," Deputy White House Chief of Staff Bruce Reed said in an interview. Quote,
"More and more, it just sounds like he was absolutely dumbfounded."
It just gets better. It keeps getting better.
What am I gonna hear?
Bruce Reed said here, quote, "He saw fake AI images of himself, of his dog." Hey, look at that. Hey, I don't remember doing that. Hey,
Commander. It's an image of Commander with a bloody muzzle and like a Secret Service arm hanging out of his mouth. He's that's my boy.
Well, yeah, they showed Joe like, hey, Commander got into some secret. Look at this bloody mess he made. Hey, I heard they made the AI. That's the AI. Commander doesn't do that.
Right.
That's AI nonsense. Oh, hey, guys! Oh boy, we got yellies.
Parade goes on.
Okay.
He saw how it can make bad poetry. He's seen and heard the incredible and terrifying technology of voice cloning, which can take 3 seconds of your voice and turn it into an entire fake conversation. Yeah, this is a great scene. Just like they already said, they had 2 meetings. So they've had 2 meetings with Biden where they basically sat him down in front of a laptop and just showed him a bunch of memes and like fake voice of himself, fake images of his dog. And that's sort of the basis for all of this executive order that we're
poetry
getting.
Is funny too. Like I want to hear the poem that was shown to Biden.
Right.
That's bad. The possibility of false images and sounds led the president to prioritize the labeling and watermarking of anything produced by AI. Biden also wanted to thwart the risk of older Americans getting a phone call from someone who sounded like a loved one only to be scammed by an AI tool. Now, we've talked about that. I think you had family that was victim or targeted, at least, with this type of scheme. So, yeah,
here's the key, actually, for young listeners and older listeners alike. I will tell you this. What you need to do is make a code word with your family, especially with the older members of your family, preferably something they can remember. Because, my family has been hit by this, and we now have a code word. And when Basil's voice comes over the phone saying that I'm in jail and I need bail money to be wired Western Union, there's a little code word just in case it is true. And if I do need bail money, I don't want everybody hanging up on me. But this is a very practical piece of advice for everybody who's gone through it. Go ahead, get yourself a code word.
Purple pumpkin. Yep. Purple pumpkin, Basil. Purple pumpkin. Send the money.
That's me and Gonz's. If anybody wants to scam us.
Okay, so let's see. You read through that part where it talks about the watermarking. Meetings could go beyond schedule, with Biden telling civil society advocates in a ballroom of San Francisco's Fairmont Hotel in June, quote, "This is important. Take as long as you need. We need to go faster than technology, but take as long as you need."
As long as you need.
The president also talked with scientists that saw the upside that AI created if harnessed for good. He listened to a Nobel Prize-winning physicist talk about how AI could explain the origins of the universe. Oh, sure. Yes. Sure. Another scientist showed how AI could model extreme weather like 100-year floods, as the past data used to assess these events has lost its accuracy because of climate change. Oh, climate change has caused us to lose the accuracy of some of the models.
Weird. Okay, there's so many things wrong. I know. Thing,
I know. We can just dive into each one of these and rip it apart. But, we've done that in the past. So anybody who's curious can go back and find some stuff. The issue of AI was seemingly inescapable for Biden. At Camp David one weekend, he relaxed by watching the Tom Cruise film Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. The film's villain is a sentient and rogue AI known as the Entity. That sinks a submarine and kills its crew in the movie's opening minutes. So I love the idea of we really got to make sure Joe is, just really scared of AI. AI is always on his mind.
Mission Impossible. Show him this film. The opening scene, the AI's, going nuts. He's, terrorizing cities and stuff. It'll be great. Show Grandpa Mission Impossible so he gets the seriousness of AI. Here's the quote, "If he hadn't already been concerned about what could go wrong with AI before that movie, he saw plenty more to worry about," said Reed.
Hello, that's called predictive programming.
They sat down President Biden and intentionally fed him the predictive programming of Mission Impossible in order to, they're just saying it, in order to affect policy.
Yeah, Joe's attitude about the whole thing. Watch this Tom Cruise film so you can shape policy. Yeah, it's insane. This is insane. And the fact that it's Joe's leisure time, he relaxed by watching, what is he going to do during his off time? Oh, and he's still being worked on. His relaxed time.
This is elder abuse.
It's elder abuse. This is like mind control.
This might literally be the definition of elder abuse. That's a thing. If you have, a young, we've all seen this play out in fiction where grandpa's about to pass and he's going to leave his fortune to somebody, and the siblings are all kind of battling to see who gets to take over grandpa's fortune. And so they, take turns sort of propagandizing grandpa. And then, of course, there's the lawyers who are watching from a distance and trying to see how things are. To emotionally manipulate grandpa like this is elder abuse. They are abusing our elder president in order to affect policies that affect everybody in the future of technology and the future of the human race. This is absolutely bizarre, and they're kind of putting it very lightly. It's almost too. Like
they're framing it like it was his thing. Like Joe was interested. Joe wanted
his personal interest. Right, right.
Which does not seem true at all. He's just being led around. Yeah. Okay. The article continues and it goes into some more details about China, and it goes into all the different countries and how they're trying to put together AI regulation. And of course, we've been tracking this, and it's been a conversation for many years. But really, in a scenario where we have like an AI Nuremberg at some point in the future, this could come up as like, hey, this was a turning point when they propagandized our president to shape policy based on a Tom Cruise film. But maybe not.
Not a good look.
Maybe not a good look. But maybe that's what their whole thing was. And this is sort of a microcosm of what we do to our friends and family. We show movies and stuff, and hey, they're talking about this topic, and
right.
And
it's
then
kind of
also
like showing somebody the Matrix to try to wake them up.
Right, exactly. So, but it's an interesting tactic, I suppose.
You take a step back. We've talked about it before. You take a step back from this, and you see the incompetence and the impotence of the Biden administration. Biden himself being a little off his rocker. The whole he's obviously just sort of a puppet of the Democratic Party. There's been calls of elder abuse in all sorts of different ways. And it really the picture starts to come together where you have the incompetence of a human ruler trying to move at the speed of AI. It's a new technology. I mean, it is building the precise case for anybody who sees the situation to advocate for AI governance. I mean, we've been following AI governance around the world, happening in Estonia, different places in Europe for a few years now. Other people are kind of starting to catch on now, but it is not out of the realm of possibility. This is a very powerful piece of propaganda to sort of encourage, hey, if we're going to move the speed of AI, that can only be done by at least integrating AI into our governing practices. Sure, maybe we won't have an AI prime minister like the Estonian population said they would love, but we integrate a little bit of AI, let AI tell us how to properly preside over AI's rise. It'll be great.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, we're kind of stepping into World War III. I'm wondering if there is going to be sort of an equivalent type of situation to the Hiroshima stuff that happened in Japan, but with AI. And I'm not even sure what that would look like. Maybe a cyber pandemic of sorts, or some network somewhere going haywire or something. Who knows?
Some kind of mass trauma.
Maybe it's already happening in a little small strip of land somewhere in the Middle East that we'll talk about a little later. But, yeah. Anything else on this, Basil? I mean, we knew this was coming. It's still ongoing. Despite their desire to move faster than the speed of technology, I think it's going to continue to crawl along here. And, by the time they get anything done, it'll be too late. So
ultimately impotent. I mean, that's kind of the idea. Look like you're doing something while, sort of reveling in the sort of impracticality of government regulating something like that. But as more details become apparent, we'll check it out. Just a quick little story here coming from Italy, just to give us a little update on the family dynamics.
There is no other like mother. So treat her right, come on.
It's been a while since we busted out the mother jingle. Mothers, All right, this is coming from Yahoo News. It's mirrored by from CNN. Parasites. Mother wins court case to evict 2 sons in their 40s. A mother's love does have limits, it seems, at least for a 75-year-old woman in the northern Italian city of Pavia, who won a court order after suing to have her sons, aged 40 and 42, removed from her house. A court clerk in Pavia told CNN Friday. The 2 sons, described in court papers by their mother as parasites, had been living in the family apartment without contributing financially or helping around the house, according to the complaint filed by the woman, who has not been named, in the Tribunal of Pavia District Court. Both men are employed, the court documents state. Judge Simona Caterbi sided with the retired mother. Who wouldn't? Come on. Who is separated from the men's father and whose pension went entirely on food and maintenance of the home, ruling that the 2 bamboccioni, or big babies, have until December 18th to vacate the premises, according to Tuesday's court ruling seen by CNN. Caterbi wrote, quote, "There is no provision in the legislation which attributes to the adult child the unconditional right to remain in the home exclusively owned by the parents against their will and by virtue of the family bond alone." The men, who hired lawyers to fight the maternal eviction, according to the local newspaper in La Provincia Pavese, argued that Italian parents are required by law to take care of their children as long as necessary. This is a good argument.
It is a good argument.
Yeah. Caterbi cited the existing law in her ruling and agreed that the stay in the property could initially be considered well-founded because the law is based on the maintenance obligation incumbent on the parent. She then ruled that, quote, "it no longer appears justifiable considering the 2 defendants are subject over 40, and once a certain age has been exceeded, the child can no longer expect the parents to continue the maintenance obligation beyond limits that are no longer reasonable." A lawyer for the men told local media that the men had not decided if they would appeal the court decision. This is not the first time a mamoni, an Italian term used to describe adult men who are too dependent on their mothers, has cropped up in legal system. They can tell us about something else happened. But it does give you some stats here at the end. It says, on average, Italians leave their parental home at the age of 30, according to Eurostat 2022 data. Croatia is the highest in the European Union with an average age of 33.4 years. By contrast, this is kind of an interesting. Croatia is an interesting place. By contrast, offspring in Finland, Sweden, and Denmark start life on their own at the average age of 21, according to the same data.
Look at those guys. Look at those guys hopping off early, just
so
living life. Yeah, very independent.
Yeah, well, it's the Scandinavian sort of practice of leaving your baby in a stroller out in a snowstorm while you go in to get coffee. It really encourages the individualism of the 21-year-old. But yes, this is hilarious. Now, it's interesting. Really, the only reason I wanted to bring it to the show and make it kind of part of the conversation is because we are seeing sort of a battle going on, at least in the U.S., and I'd say it's sort of a worldwide thing, related to the economy, related to the destruction of the housing markets and the WEF. You will own nothing, and you'll be happy. The sort of mass rental campaign by BlackRock and others, this idea that, hey, we are going to restructure society so that, buying a home, the American dream, is no longer the American dream. You'll rent forever and you'll pay top dollar for whatever. I mean, you go on social media, it's post after post after post after video after video after viral thing about how impossible the sort of cost of living has become in the U.S. And the idea that multi-generational housing, which was once sort of like a quaint sort of heartwarming idea that someday American families will stay together, and the bond between child and parent and grandparent would become sort of a replacement for the foundational building block of society, not just the individual, not just the immediate family, but the broader family. In the meantime, you've got Italian mothers suing their 40-year-old son for sticking around for a little too long. I get it. We can see that the idea of multi-generational housing is either being forced on us by economic conditions, even though even in Italy is considered like a very family oriented, a little, at least more than the US, family oriented society, and even there it's starting to kind of fall apart. People are realizing the benefits of having at least a couple walls between you and your 40-year-old children.
Yeah, my message to those two Italians, brothers, right? 40 and 42, yeah. Step into it.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Look at yourself in the mirror. Just step into the 40s, But, it is, yeah, like you said, there's a lot of social commentary surrounding this and sort of the overview of where we're headed and everything. The one thing that I wanted to do, since we have international listeners, and I think we have listeners in every country mentioned here, Croatia, Finland, Sweden, Denmark. The one thing that I noticed in this article, CNN did not mention the average age of the American male who, what time, or not what time, how old are they? So I had to look it up, and, there's a few different studies that do some things. The one I found gave a window. Age 24 to 27 is the average age of an American male moving out of his parents' house. But 50% of those who move out at some point move back in, usually to economic hardship or, that transition period or something like that. And, I moved out when I was 18 to college, but that's true for me too. There were periods, summer times or year here. Yeah. Had to go back and try to save up and do that whole thing. So yeah, I mean, this is, and culturally it's interesting to me as well, because traditionally, before the modern era, I don't think it was that crazy for people to, families to stay together and live in a home for many generations even. Right. But it didn't mean that you were 40 and like not contributing to the family. You're probably in the family business, or, you're working, you're getting up, you're working all day. So so you can live there, you're part of the family and you're the family unit, but you're contributing. In this case, it's like now that we have the internet and all this stuff, people are not contributing, right? They just want to sit on their computers all day. So I can understand the mother's plea here, but also I can see how robots will be very effective in filling the gaps here with what's taking place.
That is kind of the other side of this interesting situation, is because I could see the sons making a case like, hey, mom is 75. Maybe if not today, but tomorrow it might become harder and harder for her.
Yeah, that's Before you continue, I was over the weekend. I was come in contact with somebody who does some homeless, like family planning kind of stuff locally for people that are struggling and homeless and things of that nature. And she was saying that right now they serve about 1,800 senior citizens, and this is like an affluent part of Orange County. So it's not Orange County, California. So it's not like some impoverished area of LA or something like that. Mm-hmm. So 1,800 people are senior citizens. Many of them were once donors to that organization. And now they're the ones seeking help because they're on their retirement accounts and they're on a fixed income and they can't afford anything.
Right.
So it's crazy, but that's, the idea of keeping the family together is a positive one, but it makes it seem like in the modern era, like, hey, move out, get your life together, all that kind of stuff. It may not be exactly the thing, but it's just interesting how they.
Well, I think that's what makes this, on one hand, it's kind of weird that CNN would be writing about this.
Right,
sort of
exactly.
An international, national news thing. It's like, it's kind of a human interest piece, but it's also not interesting. Like, it's
it's not that
really a
interesting.
human
Yeah.
interest piece. And so you got to look at it as propaganda. And the propaganda here is really celebrating the mother, the 75-year-old mother, for kicking out her deadbeat kids. But as 75, it's only a matter of time before she's going to need somebody in the house.
Please move back in and take care of me.
Yeah. And so, who knows? I bet if you were to talk to the men in this case, they would give a side of the story that is like, mom's like kind of a little loopy. She forgets her meds.
She listens to Canary Cry news talk all day.
Actually telling us about all these conspiracy theories. You could get a story like that. And the idea that, two brothers would come together to care for their aging mother is actually a heartwarming reversal of the story. Not that I have any evidence to that being the case,
right? But it's just the way it's framed.
Play out in that way.
Yeah.
Because this mother sues the kids, gets them out of the house. A couple of years down the line, some health things start happening. She doesn't want the kids in the house. Boom, you got your robot caretakers moving in. Who needs human family if you can just lease a caretaking robot to come keep you alive instead of your deadbeat kids? I mean, it's also a very sort of distinctive and sinister piece of social propaganda to weaken the idea that it's worth having family around.
Yeah, 100%. All right. So it's a good way to start our Monday, I suppose, is it not? Talk about family, while there's things blowing up all over the place. It's always good to talk about moms.
Gary, what day is it? Monday.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Gary, what day is it? Monday.
Yep, it's Monday. Guns, anything interesting happen over the weekend?
Not really. I'm trying to get myself in focus. My camera is not able to focus. I am a translucent, in between dimensions entity right now.
A phase shifter.
I did receive a note or a text message from somebody who's in the military for, I think, over 20-something years. And he told me that the National Guard is sending the Taiwanese army a bunch of machine guns. Now, he sent the screenshot. I'm not going to show the screenshot, but I think it says like 400 like ready to go machine guns. So I asked him, like, is that normal? Is that, is that a thing? He said that it was more than the National Guard has ever been asked to provide for anything, especially Taiwan. I have the name of the weapon here. I don't necessarily want to throw that out on air, but yeah, some pretty heavy duty stuff that they're sending to Taiwan, which made me think like, hey, Janet Yellen eating her mushroom dish the other day was like, oh, we could totally afford 2 wars.
3.
She might have to, they might have to put her on, I don't know, Quaaludes or something to get her to agree to the 3 war thing. But yeah, we might be funding Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan in the near future here. So print that money, baby.
It's interesting because the defense of all this, and we've heard it from several different accounts, is, hey, yeah, we can give away all this stuff because it's just our old stuff. We're giving away old stuff because we need to make room to build the new stuff.
Right.
We are going to get our military-industrial complex to build the new lasers. We don't need machine guns because we're going to have, microwave incineration devices being carried by our troops. And it's like,
the ability to call fire down from heaven and just incinerate you. Of course.
Yeah, whatever it is. And it's like, okay, but this isn't, it's sort of playing on the idea that we still have that sort of technological advantage when we really haven't seen it, manifest in front of us. People are unaware of what they're going to be replacing these weapons with. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Joe's on it. Joe's AI, what is it? Biden Hairy Legs GPT. That'll be fantastic. Just way ahead of the curve.
Yeah. Who needs weapons when you've? I did it. I did the duck hunt. My first duck hunt on Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
And
did you catch any?
I think it was a bad idea because now I'm sicker than ever. I'd never been on a duck hunt before. The person who brought me also had never been on a duck hunt before.
Did you get the bird
figuring
flu?
It out.
Get the bird flu?
Yeah. It pretty much ended up being about 4 hours of wading through, chest-high water silently as ducks and other waterfowl sort of mock me and fly away. But I did get one. I got one. I was the only one. I got the only duck, and it was a good time. I kind of get it. I was out there. We were in a spot where it didn't have much cell service. So, there was a part of me. I was like, okay, this guy has brought me out here to off me in a swamp, and there's nothing I could do about it, but that's okay. We'll see how it goes. Got one duck. Got the only duck. I will say it was a cute duck.
You got the cute one?
I got the cute one.
Yeah.
I didn't want to get the cute one. I wanted to get, the criminal mastermind duck, the unsavory character in the duck world, but I did get the cute one. But the whole thing, learned the skills, got taught how to clean the thing and prepare the thing, and it's all good. So we'll see. I'm going to try my hand at a little bit of duck taxidermy as well. So who knows? Maybe at a show and tell later on, we can see. You can see how that turns out. But yeah, I totally get it. There's no cell service, so I didn't have any podcasts to listen to or anything. It was just me and my thoughts and the mocking calls of the ducks all around me that would not let me get close enough to them. And I get why people are so enthusiastic about duck hunting. It's mostly you can finally just get out in nature and sort of not listen to horrific things happening in the Middle East for, a few hours. So there you go. I'll keep you posted as I continue to build the skills to survive outside of the beast system.
I think there's some footage of you duck hunting with a cat next to you. I think that's Monty. You're giving away your face, bro.
I should teach the cats how to retrieve.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a cute little thing there. What is that from?
I don't know. You sent me this footage from your phone.
Okay. Yeah, I get the retriever thing. The retrievers would have been nice, but yeah, this duck luckily came to me. Okay, with that, let's thank some executive producers.
Executive producers.
Yep, we are on the value for value model, folks, which means not only do we accept donations from people who are feeling generous, but it is the only way that we keep the show alive is if you, dear listener, get value from the show. That's the key. Whatever value you get from the show, you're invited to put that value back into the show, and that's the only way that we can keep going. It's value for value. It's not us asking for donations and then also advertising to you and then also selling you t-shirts. It's value for value. It's a principle that we hold dearly, and we hope that at least some percentage of our listeners hold dearly as well. We're still at the kind of classic 1% of people who listen, produce the show, but we are very grateful for them. And the executive producers are those who come in with $100 or more for any individual episode, and that's why we thank them here at the top. And we got one to thank. Are you ready, Guns?
Ready.
All right. You saw this coming, my friends. We've got executive producer Sir Alex Protocol, V2 Knight of the Berean Protocol, coming in with $133.
Thank you, Sir Alex Protocol, V2 Knight of the Berean Protocol.
$100, 33 cents is what it is.
Where'd you find this?
What is the streak number here? Executive streak number?
Yeah, we are on 228 episodes in a row and 24 episode executive producer streak.
Whew.
Yep,
that is
very impressive.
Very impressive.
Very impressive. We're going to at least need to figure out how to upgrade Sir Alex Protocol's peerage by 33 streak. We're going to have to figure that out. We can't go. We could do it before that, but we can't go any further than the 33 streak. That would just be reprehensible. Yeah. Thank you very much, Sir Alex Protocol, V2, Knight of the Berean Protocol. Yeah, we got a short list today, Gons. I think I should just go through and thank the rest of the producers.
That sounds good.
Okay. That's right. You can produce at any level you want. Remember, it's whatever value that you get from the show, you can put that value back in, and you can do it with your time, your talent, or your treasure. It's not all about money, but we got some people who came in, produced the show, and we're going to thank them as well, starting with producer Holly C.
Holly C, thank you.
Holly C, thank you very much, Holly C. Holly C came in with a nice round number, which means we won't disclose what it is on the show. If you don't mind us disclosing the amount, make it a funky number, kind of like Sir Alex Protocol puts 33 cents at the end of his producership. Put some strange numbers, maybe that means something in there, and that tells us you don't mind us reading the amount. Thank you very much, producer Holly C.
Appreciate it.
And I have a correction for last episode. We were looking for Dame Grace's Dame name, and
I saw that too,
I was reminded that it's Dame Miss G of the OV in the Deep River.
Yeah, Dame Miss G, and her name is absolutely on the list. So
yes,
yeah. Canary Cry newstalk.com/roundtable. You can see all the nights and days there.
Next up, we got producer Travis H. Travis H. comes in for $17.17. And he has a note here that says, absolutely love the show and the insight. I generally listen alongside No Agenda and make notes/drawings. P.S. Been stuck in Amos and Hosea a lot lately. Ah, yes. You got those Old Testament prophets. There's a lot of wisdom to be gleaned there, especially with current events going on. Good read, Travis H. And thank you so much for your producership.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
We also had Dame Gail, Canary Whisperer, and Lady of X's and O's, came in with a pocket full of sevens.
Thank you, Dame Gail.
Yeah, 317 episode in a row streak.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, streakalicious.
And we got a note here that says, praise God. My daughter Kerrigan and her SO Alexis are getting married tomorrow, Tuesday. May God bless them both.
Hallelujah.
Overwhelmed with joy. I love them both so much. X's and O's. Hey, congratulations.
Yeah, congrats.
Gail, what a big day.
That's a Halloween day wedding. If it's Tuesday,
spooky.
That's a spooky wedding.
It's a spooky
Hopefully
wedding.
There's no spooks at the wedding.
Again, congratulations to Dame Gail and Kerrigan and Alexis. We hope it's a wonderful day. All right, that concludes our list of financial producers who came in the amount of $7.77 or more. That entitles them to have a note read on the show, but we got some people who came in under that amount. We'll thank them now. So a short list today, but it's end of the month. Things happen.
Yeah.
We got producer Malik W. continues his streak of 32 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Malik W.
Doctor Who Done That, 22 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Doctor Who Done That.
Sir Morph, Night of the Burning Chariots, 292 in a row.
Woo, Sir Morph, thank you.
Yeah, and we got a milestone here from Veronica D, 322 in a row.
Ooh, Veronica D, 322.
322.
Very nice.
Yeah, there you go. Take that, all you Yale Skull and Bonesians. We got Sir Scott, Knight of Truth, 346 in a row.
Thank you, Sir Scott.
And the one, the only, Sir Casey, the Shield Knight, 361 episodes in a row.
Sir Casey, the Shield Knight.
There you go. That concludes our list of financial producers who came in to keep this show going. Remember, these are the folks who are paying the bills around here. So thank them. Thank God for them. And consider your own value that you get from the show and how maybe you could put that back in. And you do that by going to canarycry.support. It's the only way that this show will be on next time on Wednesday because of these producers.
Canarycry.support. Hey, Basil.
Yes.
We've been meaning to do a nighting for a few episodes and we keep forgetting, and I think we should just do it right now.
Let's do it. It's a nighting. That's right, folks. We got the Canary Cry roundtable of knights and dames. You hear them thanked all the time. These are illustrious producers who have supported the show in the amount of $1,000 or more. That can be all at once or over time. Many people are on, monthly support programs. We've got people on the supply drop, people on the T-shirt council, all of these types of things leading up to their knighthood or damehood at the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames. And we have one who finally has decided on their knighting name. This is producer Spears Desert, who's been producing the show for years and finally has give us the information that we need. And so I think it's time to do that. What do you say?
Yeah, let me go get my katana. It's over here. Hold on. Yeah, let's get.
Babies are playing with it.
You gotta watch out, kids. This is very sharp. Very sharp.
Very sharp. Okay, here's mine. Okie dokie. We want to call up Spears Desert. Please step forward up to the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, where we have a seat for you. Thanks to your generous support in the amount of $1,000 or more, we are proud to pronounce you Sir Spears, Knight of the Desert. Please join us at the Canary Cry Roundtable, where we have the belt of truthful truthiness, breastplate of righteousness, custom fit Birkenstocks to carry forth the gospel of peace, the shield of ferocious faith, the helmet of substantiating salvation, the supernatural sword of the spirit, and of course, adorable samurai babies, infinitely cute kitties for cuddling, and if you're hungry, we have Fancy Feast, Wet Food, Carved Cosmo, the CRISPR cow, and of course, fried wormicorns. Welcome to the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, Sir Spears, Knight of the Desert. Yes, thank you, Sir Spears. Your name will be added to the Canary Cry Roundtable at canarycrynewstalk.com/roundtable. I think Canary Cry Roundtable is a URL we have, is it not? I don't know.
We should. Whoa, hey.
Should.
Oh, juice. We need juice.
Wow, the babies are so excited. The babies celebrate your knighthood there, Sir Spears.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it. And remember, folks, if you're out there, check your accounting. You're responsible for your own accounting. Check your producerships of the show. And if you've hit $1,000 or more, send us that information. Let us know what you want your knight name to be, and we'll be happy to honor you on the show.
Sorry.
Just
flippy update. It's got a
Thank you, Sir
little
Spears.
eager. Thank you.
Knight of the Desert.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you. And thank you to all the producers out there. Okay. Are we ready? Sorry. I need to get juice for them. So I was going to get into Flippy, and then I'm going to go get juice.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. Flippy update.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
That's right, folks. It's the Flippy Update. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world and how there's nothing that we can do about it. Today's Flippy Update is coming from techexplore.com. And yes, Flippy being a disembodied robot arm, we've seen the classic Flippies flipping burgers, making pizzas, starting geopolitical conflicts. We know that Flippy is a well-accomplished robot. A classic robot with usually two joints, an elbow and a wrist joint that is capable of moving very similarly to a human arm, but that's not enough. The robots are not here to just emulate humanity. They are here to improve upon it. So this techexplore.com article has a headline here, introducing the trimmed helicoid, a soft robot arm that's based on an elephant's trunk. Oh, a soft bot. Yes, it's been a while since we've talked about soft bots, but here we go. At EPFL's Create Lab, under the guidance of Josie Hughes, a breakthrough has been made in the realm of soft robotics. Drawing inspiration from the versatile movement of an elephant trunk and octopus tentacles, the team introduced the Trim Helicoid, a novel robotic structure that promises greater compliance and control in robotic designs. Compliance was an interesting term there, but let's see what they have to say about it. With a blend of keen biological observation, and computational modeling. The researchers have now unveiled the soft robot arm capable of intricate tasks, ensuring safer human-robot interactions. Ah, there it is. The findings detailing both the structure and the methodology are a collaboration with the Department of Cognitive Robotics at TU Delft and were published in NPJ Robotics. Professor Hughes stated, quote, "Through the invention of a new architecture structure, the trimmed helicoid, we've designed a robot arm that excels in control, range of motion, and safety. When the novel architecture is combined with distributed actuation, where multiple actuators are placed throughout the structure or device, this robot arm has a vast range of motion, high precision, and is inherently safe for human interaction." So they're right off the bat here, they are hammering on one of the biggest pieces of propaganda, is that don't worry, these robots are safe to interact with humans. Not only are they safe, but they're so lovable. Whereas traditional robots are rigid, often making them unsuitable for delicate tasks or close human interactions. Create's soft robot arm is designed for safer interactions with humans and adaptability to a wider range of tasks. With an unprecedented combination of flexibility and precision, the soft and compliant nature of the arm reduces potential risks during human-robot interactions. That's about the 5th time they've mentioned that in the couple of paragraphs here. This opens doors for its application, I bet you can guess, in healthcare, elderly care, and more. That's right. Italian mothers, sue your children, get them out of the house, because we've got this soft, compliant robot arm that can help you out around the house. Elderly care is no longer left to human beings. Then it goes into talking about why these soft bots are better than the regular flippy arms, because they won't crush you as they're counting out your pills for the week. And here's an interesting piece of the whole thing. Let's see if I can find it. The interesting part, there's a lot of uninteresting bits, but the interesting bits are the ones that are interesting. Quote, "By observing these animals," okay, so we've got the sort of philosophical topic once again, that to build better robots, we must look to nature. It's sort of this kind of this new agey type of philosophy where when humans are trying to play God, the best way to play God is to look at God's creation, because it kind of was figured out the first time. And if we can combine what we find in creation with our own sort of mad ramblings about robots, then we can create something that is sort of transcendent. It says here, quote, "By observing these animals and developing a novel architecture structure, we aim to mimic this range of motion and control found in nature," Hughes noted. To do so, the team employed advanced computer modeling to turn observations into tangible results. Using these models, they iteratively tested their innovative spiral designs into a final trimmed helicoid shape. And so what they did, here we go, Jinghua Guan and Francisco Stella, who spearheaded the actual creation of the robot, gave insights into the design and the optimization process. We introduce a specific surface into the computer model, then trim and adjust. Computational methods guide us, helping assess the optimal geometric structure for maximum workspace and compliance again. The result, a robotic creation drawing from nature, but refined with the precise human ingenuity and computer modeling. Quote, "In the end, our computer models were accurate to the point where we only had to build one version of the arm. So what they're doing is they're taking nature, creation, inputting that into some sort of supercomputer, AI type of computational experimentation. And what comes out, they get it in one. There's no iterating. There's no prototype built upon a proof of concept built upon iterations of creation, which is how robots have been done, and indeed sort of every invention has been done throughout history, is proof of concept, prototype, and then iterations that improve upon it. With the power of artificial intelligence and computation and the inspiration of nature, this beautiful robot baby came out perfect the first time. And, you think a little bit deeper. This is not the only time we've ever seen science sort of be inspired by nature. But considering that robotics is sort of our favorite foray into becoming gods ourselves, creating new types of life from our own imagination, the combination, the sort of 50-50 marriage, the mating of God's creation and AI, man's creation, to affect physical beings in the world, this robotic arm, better than we've ever seen, is sort of a strangely deep philosophical piece of the propaganda. Because if these robots, it's much easier to think, oh, the robots are going to kill us, the robots are, going to overtake us, if it's simply a piece of man's creation. But if this creation is sort of married with nature as we find it now, it takes on a sort of benign, almost like holiness. Like it's
sacredness.
It's not just something that some crazy guy thought up in a lab. It's inspired by nature. We took what already works.
It's inspired by life.
Combined that with the sort of combine that with artificial life, artificial intelligence, and what we have here is transcendent. It hits all the points. It checks all the boxes. This is where our salvation comes from, is the marriage of a transhuman, better than human intelligence, artificial intelligence, with the sort of ancient wisdom of nature. It just sort of combines sort of the pagan type of, glorification of nature and the technocratic, scientistic glorification of AI, puts it all into one robot arm that will take care of your mom when she sues you, kicks you out of the house.
Well, you touched on some of the points that I wanted to bring up, but first off, in Revelation 13, it talks about the people are deceived and they make an image of the first beast who had a mortal head wound but lived. Similar in process, it seems. They study the elephant and then they put it in a computer and then they. But the other thing that I wanted to mention was how. Geez, I forgot now. Oh, well, one of them is that, when we talk about the elephant idea, specifically the elephant here, because they mimicked it off the elephant, right? You have Ganesha, which is that Hindu deity. And, their whole thing is about wisdom and new beginnings and things like that, or obstacle remover. So there's that part of it. And then, what was the... it had everything ready to go, and then of course, I forget. So,
dad brain,
good stuff.
It's called dad brain.
Okay, it's called dad brain. Great. I'm glad that there's a clinical thing that I'm experiencing.
Yeah, there's
here.
a pill for that.
Oh, good. No more pills. I don't like pills. So yeah. Anyway, I think you hit on the good points there. The gap between real and artificial is closing. More or less what you're describing there is there used to be a definitive line between artificial and non-artificial. But as we sort of use the natural world to shape artificial things, the gap begins to close. And then we have our, parabolic transcendent singularity, thanks to Joe Biden's AI bill.
Yeah, and eventually there will be so little distinction between the two that it will basically become a non-important distinction.
Yeah.
As far as human life is concerned.
Well, and again, it's just so funny how, number one, there's nothing new under the sun, but number two, they can't build anything without modeling things that were already built in creation. So it's funny how they prove God's existence while denying the existence of God in their pursuits.
Sure.
It's kind of funny how that works out. But all right, is that it for you for the flipping?
That's
here?
it for me.
Okay.
Let's keep moving.
All right. Well, the thing everyone wants to talk about, I guess. All right. At least everyone's highly emotionally charged over.
PSYOPs.
It's got to be biblical. Shall hear wars and rumors of wars.
Just merely mentioning Israel or questioning in any way Israel's policies is not the same thing as being pro-Hamas.
The Zionist Armageddon's on the way.
See, Joe Biden called it. He called it.
Yep.
And I've been saying that he called it more than he even realizes with that line. And here we go. Here we are. Look where we are now. This is Wired.com. Headline: Rocket alert apps warn Israelis of incoming attacks while Gaza is left in the dark. And this is another sort of, I suppose this is in line with fifth generation warfare.
Fifth gen warfare.
They're targeting you. They're targeting you.
Fifth gen warfare.
And the article starts with, as Israel intensifies its war on Hamas, civilians in Gaza and nearby parts of Israel live under constant threat of aerial assault. Excuse me. Please do not scream. I just gave you food. What are you hungry for?
Here's the thing, folks.
My gosh.
Here's the thing, folks. Someday, robot babies will be available to you. And you'll have a little button on a remote control that's strapped to your wrist. And there will be an option. You can turn on the option to have them scream at you while you do a podcast, because long gone will be the days of real human children with real human desires for the attention of their parents. And it will need to be simulated by corporate robot creations that spy on you and report your wants and desires to advertising companies, because human fertility will have dropped so far that you will need a robot baby. But today we thank God for the real babies who will scream in our podcasts until the dark day comes.
I'm glad that the documenting of my screaming son is the final traces of humanity as we descend into the dystopia. Okay.
Be grateful for it now, folks.
Yep, I know. Israel's military is launching hundreds of strikes a day on Gaza and said Friday it was moving in ground forces while Hamas is firing hundreds of rockets back toward Israel. In Gaza, communications and power outages leave civilians struggling to access even basic information about the ongoing conflict. On the Israeli side of the border, an official warning app that gives civilians a chance to take cover is helping prevent casualties. Now, before we move on, I want to play, because I just talked about how in Gaza, communication and power is down, civilians struggling to access basic information. You know who talked about that?
No.
Do you don't know? Klaus Schwab talked about it in his cyber pandemic thing. And we have the jingle, obviously, for the cyber pandemic.
The COVID-19 crisis would be seen as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber pandemic.
And I had the full clip of him ready, and I of course I'd lose it while I tried to get it pulled up here. But yeah, in it he talks about how communications will go down, the power grid can be attacked or whatever, and so basic information, it'll be worse than COVID, kind of thing. So I thought it was interesting in the context of what's happening in Gaza to the citizens there. they're having a cyber pandemic, basically, with Israel shutting off all their communications or electricity and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So
yeah, a little bit of a petri dish.
Yeah,
to
a little petri
what
dish.
that would look like.
Yeah. The article continues. The Israeli government's Homefront Command app has warned of 10,000 threats since Hamas first attacked on October 7th, the country's deadliest extremist incursion in years. Adoption has more than tripled since then to over 2 million active users, up from under 600,000 military officials who oversee the technology, tell Wired. Add in unofficial copycats, some of which connect directly to military servers, and red alert apps currently account for 4 of the 10 most popular free offerings on mobile app stores in Israel. So it's
crazy.
it's interesting how, you talk about the app market and, how do you get certain apps to the top of the list there? Well, war is a good setting to really launch your app to the top of the charts there. Quote, by providing early warnings to civilians, we are saving lives, says the lieutenant colonel named Itay, or Itay, I think it's Itay, who oversees the early warning system for the Israel Defense Forces. Like another IDF officer quoted in this article, he asked that his name be withheld. His last name be withheld out of safety concerns. He says his team recently got a message of thanks from more mothers, saying that the app warned of an attack 4 precious seconds before alarms blared on public sirens that have dotted streets since 2006. Quote, that's one more child she can get inside shelter, he says. Now, is the 4 seconds, I suppose every second counts.
Yeah.
But is 4 seconds enough of a gap between the phone going off and the siren going off?
If you got a bunch of kids, 4 seconds running into a shelter, that could, be a couple kids getting in that wouldn't get in.
Yeah. The app and sirens are a backdrop to Israel's extensive military defenses. The Iron Dome missile defense system effectively intercepts or destroys most airborne weapons headed to Israel, but some rockets have slipped through, causing injuries in recent days, and the government has encouraged people in Israel to download its app. Download the app, because you might get blown up otherwise. Across the border, Israel's military has sometimes called people in Gaza to warn of its own attacks, but power and communication networks there have been unreliable since Israel's recent assault began, and on Friday, internet access appeared to be cut off entirely. The Homefront Command app doesn't provide alerts for the disputed Hamas-controlled territory, as it is out of Israel's jurisdiction, Lieutenant Colonel Itay says. And it talks about some Palestinian activists and how they can't get the type of infrastructure into Gaza that they would like to have, for them to be able to have a similar type of alert system.
Right.
And then down here, but it's unclear who would be willing to stand up a system like that in Gaza or how it could keep functioning as Israel's assaults continue. Communication networks have faltered over the past 3 weeks with Israeli airstrikes, which have damaged key infrastructure. On Friday, the last internet provider whose service was operating in Gaza, Paltel, and UK internet monitoring company NetBlocks reported that Gaza was wholly offline. Power generators are reaching their limits, according to the UN agency advocating for Palestinians, after Israel cut off electricity and fresh fuel. So, yeah, it's interesting how the cyber pandemic element is sort of central to everything else going down. Tech solutions are invalid, says Mohammed Al-Nobani, a Palestinian who is CEO of Arab-focused stock photography service Middle Frame, speaking ahead of Friday's communication collapse in Gaza. Interesting people, that they're quoting here. He says trying to maintain contact with anyone inside Gaza right now is frustrating. Quote, we usually lose touch with them and get back in touch every few days to make sure they're alive, end quote. And then it goes into the app surge here. And how we've known about this, and they've had these types of apps since 2012, and so they talk about that a little bit. How it became popular in 2014 after the last sort of thing, the clash, and they have these screenshots of the warnings that pop up on the phone here, and then it says the digitization of national security has spread to other countries trying to cope with consistent bombardment, including Syria and Ukraine, where phone-based alerts arm individuals with information to stay safe. Israelis' interest in warning apps surged after Hamas, yada, yada, yada. There's a part in here that mentions how in Ukraine, there's an issue where, people are sort of become, desensitized to the alert systems. So they'll go off on the phone and they'll be like, yeah, whatever.
I know. That's what I was thinking. I feel like I would almost immediately on like the first or second day start ignoring those things.
Yeah. Well, I guess it depends on the situation you are in. But Israel's warning system relies upon a combination of sensors, algorithms, and personnel to identify incoming threats and estimate their target. People in threatened areas receive the loudest possible mobile alerts with vibrations and light flashes too, even when a phone is silenced. Lieutenant Colonel Itay, the IDF overseer, says only milliseconds should elapse between threat detection and the warning, giving most users enough time to scramble for safety. App users can select additional neighborhoods, yada, yada, yada. They're going to try to connect it to earthquakes and tsunamis. And so there's, this is sort of setting the precedent for all kinds of catastrophes or chaos events or attacks or anything. Several critical alerts received this week in California after Wired downloaded Homefront Command and selected a Tel Aviv neighborhood warned of rocket and missile fire and directed recipients to, quote, enter the protected space and stay in it for 10 minutes. Clicking the alert opened page inside the app saying users had 90 seconds to reach shelter and listed options such as mammods, reinforced concrete rooms, common in Israel, inner stairwells on middle floors of taller buildings, or an outer area or outdoor area with hands covering head.
Oh, that's nice. I like the suggestions.
But this struck me a little bit, Basil, because you've done escape rooms, yes?
Yeah.
Now, I've never done an escape room. I've only heard about them. But for some reason, it got me thinking about escape rooms, and I'm not sure why, but it was this idea that you're in a situation and you have to find a way out of it. You're kind of forced into a situation, and it's a life or death type of situation. And then it got me thinking, like, this is kind of borderline Hunger Games, where the civilians there are, dots on a screen from the side of the IDF. They have the dashboard, and they're watching the whole game here between Gaza and the civilians on the Israel side. And, they can send out alerts or whatnot, but they're kind of acting as the capital where the Israeli citizens are like the rebels and they're in the battlefield. It's a very bizarre. Yes, buddy.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting too, because as we've seen with some cyber security problems, i.e., Fitbits on American soldiers and stuff, it depends who holds the information. There's these app developers who have 2 million. They now have the live location of 2 million Israeli citizens. And that's one thing, they have your location so they can tell you if a missile is coming towards your way. And that's what the whole app is based around. But in an unfortunate situation where some, Hamas or whoever, cyber attackers are able to see the live location of 2 million Israeli citizens, that could very quickly become a huge liability. That is a scary sort of proposition. And that's sort of the number one. I mean, forget conspiracy theories, forget, all sorts of sort of technocratic paranoia. That is just a very basic principle of giving a tech company your live information. Is all it takes is a very crafty hacker to be able to see what they see and use that information for sort of opposite purposes.
Nefarious purposes,
it's great.
I continue with the article here because there's some stuff that's troubling here. An IDF major named Shai in the tech-focused J6 and Cyber Defense Directorate, which develops Homefront Command, says her team of about 10 working on the app have several updates planned. They wanted to also alert users when threats subside and introduce a kid mode with more digestible notifications for younger users. How does that work exactly?
It's like the unicorn advertisement that the state of Israel played on YouTube.
Were they going to have like a cartoon, like, hey, better go hide or it's going to go boom, boom. Like what, how do you, like what in the world are they like, this is very bizarre.
Yeah.
Major Shai claims Apple has held up another Homefront Command upgrade that's been in the works for months, declining to provide detail. And this is another little wrinkle that I think is very interesting. It might have greater implications for the tech bust. It feels like the tech industry in general is sort of peaked out a little bit. You know, the stock market, Apple was like way overpriced and all this. And there could be some reversal there. And it's just interesting, all the negative press Apple's been getting the last year. And this is another example of like, look at Apple. You know, similar to how Elon in Ukraine was like, oh, you turned off your Starlink and people couldn't communicate, you know? They're having the same kind of thing where they're like, Apple preventing the app updates, you know, killing Israelis, basically.
When the case may be, much like the Elon Starlink thing, it wasn't that he turned off Starlink, is that he just refused to turn it on when it wasn't there in the first place. But, you know, Apple, it might just be held up because there's some sort of security failure in it, and Apple won't let it go onto the App Store because of this devastating security failure or something. You know, they don't say why it's held up.
Yeah, they're not really sharing, and that very much could be from Apple's side. Be like, hey, look, you guys are very heavily targeted, and this is not secure. Like, if you guys do this, then it's opening up for all kinds of, you know, vectors of attack or whatever. We have no idea. The other part also is Apple might be going, hey, no, you're not supposed to use this app store. You're supposed to use, you know, whatever, war app or something, war Apple app store, which is, you know, only meant for intelligence agencies or something. I don't know. But anyway, you know, with the case of Elon, Starlink, and what was the military version of his Starlink? Starshield, yeah. Okay, let's see. What else do I have highlighted here? IDF is now working to plug its warning into the emergency alerting system built into iPhones and Android devices, which power strident push notifications for earthquakes and kidnappings in California and other places. Within days, it should launch a warning app for Android TVs intended to allow alerts to interrupt Netflix and other streaming services as they do conventional TV broadcasts. I thought that was interesting. You know how when I was growing up, the whole idea of like, hey, you know, a nuke or some kind of event, it's like all the TVs are disrupted. You know, we're all on our 5 network television channels and they all get disrupted. You know, breaking news, you know, the Chinese have landed on the shores of California and they have guns or whatever it is. But now, you know, now that the internet's here, it's kind of like, well, how do you do the thing? How do you do the interruption thing? Well, now they're building in systems to where, you know, you're watching your Netflix and sorry, everybody, we need to disrupt your Netflix. There's a rocket headed your way or an earthquake or something, and, you know, do what you need to do. Which, again, it puts every citizen with a phone in this interesting situation. Talk about 5th generation warfare, where you're just, you know, a few clicks away or a few alerts away from life or death at any moment. You never know. And the government will let you know that if there's a threat. If threats from Hamas grow, IDF could have to consider additional challenges. People have gotten injured by rushing to shelter. So people in Israel, you know, maybe there's a false alarm or, you know, people freak out over something that maybe is not as a big deal or something. And they're getting injured by trying to find shelter. They're not even getting hurt from the actual rockets or anything. They're just like, oh my gosh, and they're freaking out and they're falling or tripping or something.
That sounds like a creative claim made by a lawyer.
Possibly, yeah.
Have you been harmed by trying to get to shelter from a rocket alert app?
Yeah.
Well, you're owed compensation.
Join this class action lawsuit. Medical and public policy researchers. I'm sorry, I skipped that part. In Ukraine, alert fatigue as the war drags on has made people less responsive to calls to shelter. So yeah, there's that line there. Medical and public policy researchers have suggested better education on responding to warning. Lieutenant Colonel Ite declines to comment. Yeah, these people that are not responding to our government alert systems, they need to be better educated, okay? They don't understand. Yeah. They're just not smart, okay? That's why they're going to die.
So making it through this article, I mean, it's quite dense.
It is dense. We don't have to. Yeah, we've been jumping around.
But it seems like one of the broader points here is that the rocket alert app industry is kind of like an American tech industry. Like, it's kind of willy-nilly. Anybody can make a rocket alert app. Each one has like a host of different features. Some are pay to play, some have advertisements, this kind of thing. It's being sort of taken as an economic opportunity, similar to like any other app, possible app into like dating apps. Anybody can kind of whip up a dating app real quick, and through the APIs and the government alerts going out, you can kind of just forward that stuff to your app, and it looks like it's causing all sorts of problems. It's very interesting, including data scraping and some of the other monetization strategies that Silicon Valley had sort of pioneered for quite some time. It almost looks like a call for harsher regulation over technology in this particular part of the world.
Yeah, and it's the article. There's another part here that I thought sounded more like a marketing statement than anything else. It says here, some non-government apps such as news app Walla receive rocket alerts directly from government servers. Others seem to scrape data, leading to notification delays of a couple seconds. Lieutenant Colonel Ite contends that none of the unofficial options match the IDF app's precision and speed, and it's not cluttered with ads.
Mm-hmm.
Home Front Command is the only one you can rely on, he says. Doesn't that sound like a commercial? The only one you can rely on.
Yeah, give your data to the government.
Yeah, the government is going to take care of you. And it goes on here. Let's see. One more highlight here. We are giving you a seat. This is a quote. We are giving you a seatbelt. If you don't want to use it, that's your choice. A life-preserving option for at least some civilians put at risk by the war. While Gaza is offline, bullhorns or airdropped leaflets may be the only warnings its residents will have as Israel's assault escalates. And then there's an edit here because they took out the last name of one of the IDF officers. So there you go. Again, the warfare happening for your mind, for your soul. We're in it, we're all in it. We have these devices. We're all in this sort of battlefield now. And at any moment, these governments can, send an alert and can freak out an entire population. And, if you think, again, hindsight 2020, but we had that nuke thing the Russia did, and then the next day we had October 4th. Remember 10/4, we had our app emergency system alert system test on our phones, and then it was that Friday when all this started. So it just seems very suspicious.
Yeah.
And just real quick, just to blast through this. Yeah, I know, buddy. I know. I'm sorry. I got to do this. Yeah. You want a police car? Yeah, you have 50,000 stickers of fire trucks, but he wants the police car. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fascist.
Children are fascist in a way. Mm-hmm. Maybe I should write a book about that. Okay, so speaking about Hunger Games and how it might be, we're looking at it right now, seeing it happening in Gaza and Israel. But really, we've noticed how this issue has really brought out people all over the world to protest and whatnot, whether you're on one side or the other. Jack Poso, this is Jack Pacific on X, Twitter, posted, Black Hebrew Israelites are now battling the pro-Palestinian protesters in Chicago. And Jack Poso, pretty, I don't know if that's exactly what's taking place here, but, people are really, really, really fired up about this issue. And
yeah, I mean, I saw it reported in some other places. Yeah, I mean, it's bringing out, again, back to the balkanization of the American voting blocks. It's no longer Republican or Democrat, and it's no longer far left or center left. It's like each little group simply just through this most recent geopolitical sort of upset in the Middle East has balkanized the voting blocks even further. I mean, down to the smallest niche group of people, which is overall the reason we even bring this up is because it's disempowering the idea of democracy in the first place. The more you can divide groups of people, the more that the ruling class is able to enforce hegemony, which seems counterintuitive, but we've seen it work that way over and over again.
Yeah, sorry.
So an instance would be Black Lives Matter, which would be a group that the Black Israelites would more or less sort of align with. Now you've got Black Lives Matter being pro-Palestinian, but the Black Israelites now unable to claim sort of association with them, and on top of that, getting in street fights. It's really whoever's pulling the strings. It's been a genius opportunity for them to balkanize political groups even further.
Yeah. It's breaking down over here. Everything's breaking down. Wife had to intervene. That's not a good sign. Real quick, also, speaking to that, I have a couple clips from some individuals that you may have heard of. This first one is Hillary Rodham Clinton, and she had some thoughts about the situation over there in Israel and Gaza. And here's what she had to say.
People who are calling for a ceasefire now do not understand Hamas. That is not possible. It would be such a gift to Hamas because they would spend whatever time there was a ceasefire in effect rebuilding their armaments, creating stronger positions to be able to fend off an eventual assault by the Israelis. So we're in a very different world. I don't think it had to be the world we're in, but that's where we are, and we've got to figure our way forward through it.
So Hillary Clinton peddling the pro-Israeli narrative.
Yeah, notorious war hawk Hillary Clinton. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. So it's just interesting how a lot of pro-Israel folks were very anti-Hillary, especially around 2016, 2017 when the whole Trump thing happened, and now they're all. I saw a lot of sentiment on X Twitter. Oh, I actually agree with her for the first time. I agree with her. And then we also have the new Speaker of the House. What is his name? Mike Johnson. Here's his his, I guess, statement on the wars. And this is a longer clip. He said that he's pro-Israel, unwavering till the end, supporting Israel in the war. And he said, quote, "As a Christian, we believe the Bible teaches very clearly that we're to stand with Israel." So there's our new House Speaker. Another neocon, seems like.
Yeah, it's been interesting. Oh,
yeah, go ahead.
Playing something?
No.
It's been interesting. Even in the most secular, most popular mainstream and sort of pseudo-mainstream outlets, there is a lot of examination of the evangelical support of Israel, specifically in sort of your basic church theology about end times. The examination of end times Christians, and I would say this is sort of your what's the word? Not more traditional, but like your easier to find end times Christian. Where there's those churches that they'll do like Revelation weekend, once a year or something like that, just to make sure everybody knows about what to keep an eye out for. There's a lot
Revelation weekend. Did you have that growing up?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I knew lots of churches where they wouldn't necessarily preach about the end times like every week, but they would have like one weekend or 1 week a year where they're like, here's where we stand on this, and that would be like the time for the pastor to like really bust out his, show his crazy flag.
Interesting.
And that's kind of where the majority of evangelical beliefs, end time beliefs, come from. That's sort of separate from like the diehard sort of internet Bible prophecy Christians.
Well, yeah, the internet has created 24/7 of all industries. So yeah, even Bible prophecy is 24/7 now on the internet. It's just kind of fun.
It's been interesting that in the mainstream and para-mainstream outlets on regular sort of prime time news conversations, they're talking about evangelicals and their support of Israel in the context of end times prophecy. It's becoming even more in sort of the limelight. It's very strange to see. Of course, it's all sort of, I mean, every single news person who's talking about it is kind of like, I don't really know anything about this, but I guess the Bible says this and they believe that, and I don't really get it. I mean, blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, why don't you, I don't know, bring somebody on who knows what they're talking about? You could do that if you wanted people to trust what you're saying, but no, so far, no luck.
We have a complete meltdown over here. This is not
Estimating
doing
One
well.
Discovering 3 has an interesting parenting tip for you, Gons. Spare the rod. ...
Yeah, you know, I've experimented with that a little bit.
That's a good way
to make things
get
worse.
CPS called on you, live streaming martial punishment on your children. Okay, what else do you got?
Well, if you can do us a favor and walk us through. Speaking of apps, right? You know, just be aware of all the apps you have. Make sure you download the government app, because you're watched even on your toilet, which is also not safe.
Did you ever have the feeling that you were being watched?
We'll control them with toileting.
We knew this. We knew this. We've got this coming from dailymail.com. Oh my gosh, the chaos is reaching peak levels. Dailymail.co.uk. Doctor issues warning about using your phone while using the toilet. Listen up, folks. This one kind of convicts me. Let's see what we got here. A gastroenterologist has warned people about the risks of using their phones on the toilet and gave advice on how to fix the habit. How to fix the habit. Did not know that was a habit that needed fixing. But of course, we've been examining toilet surveillance, sewer surveillance. We are the first to take it seriously by our count. By now, people have kind of caught up, but sewer surveillance is a serious business. And let's see what the doctor has to say about it. Dr. Joseph Salhab confirmed that prolonged sitting and straining on the toilet, perhaps encouraged by taking your phone to the bathroom, can lead to an increased risk of developing hemorrhoids, also known as piles. I've never heard that. He also commented on how it can lead to undesirable bacteria on your device. Dr. Salhab, who goes by the Stomach Doctor on TikTok. Oh, good. Yeah, we got to get our advice from the TikTok doctor. Said, straining and prolonged sitting when you're trying to use the restroom puts you at risk for developing hemorrhoids, which can be painful and bleed. Oh, no. He then gave tips on how to reduce time doing a number 2, including limiting your mobile phone use. Definitely try to limit your phone use while you're using the bathroom, and you can use a stepping stool, he added, because when you raise your feet, it allows easier passage of stool, which is really beneficial. Okay, get your nose out of my bathroom, toilet doctor. Another piece of advice he gave was to change your diet to include more fruit. If a visit to the toilet takes so long that you might as well scroll through your social media. Look, I think it's going the other direction. I think it takes a certain amount of time to scroll through the social media, and that's deciding how long it takes in the bathroom. Increase your fiber, blah, blah, blah. This includes things like kiwi fruit. Okay, don't care. Dr. Sahab also added the option of using supplements such as psyllium husk. Oh, good, thank you. Speaking of which, he reminds people to make sure you're drinking plenty of water, because water and fiber go like this, he said with his fingers entwined. Magnesium oxide, okay. And Dr. Salhab went back to discussing phone use in the bathroom. Okay, come on, get back to the phone use. In the comments under his original TikTok. In response to someone saying that you can't do nothing these days, he wrote, poop time should be just that, though. Cleaner, easier. Imagine the bacteria on your phone. Bacteria from both human and cockroach poo are among the secret germs that leak on our phones, experts have warned. With that, 100% of smartphone screens were home to E. coli and fecal streptococci in a study of the harmful microbes that plague our devices. Wow, it sounds like our phones, not only being a carrier of the cyber pandemic, can have lots of other little critters on it. I think it's just a matter of time before the powers that be figure out how to send the frequencies through our phones to activate the sort of ticking time bombs that are all the germs on the phones. That's all it takes, folks. Just one little. Speaking of which, we had the theories about the alert system in America, the alert system test activating, your nanobots or whatever through some frequency that would cause all sorts of hullabaloo. If only they figured out how to turn E. coli into super mega E. coli using, some frequencies from your phone, then we'd all be done for. Who knows? Maybe they already know this. Maybe that's why I'm sick. Who knows?
Yeah, they've figured out how to change all germs into black goo, sentient matter. And it would be like a Venom situation from their phones,
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah. I think, sorry, I missed part of this because I was
fear the phone.
Doing the thing. Yeah, fear the phone.
Fear the phone at all times.
What I thought was interesting in this article, what's not mentioned is how you can clean your phone. Is that an option or no? No option. That's not an option. You can't clean your phone. It's just
keep some sanitize wipes.
Or something. I mean, there are ways to maybe keep the phone clean, but and the other part of this is doctor. What if you need your phone to know what if
you're looking up symptoms,
Hamas,
or you've got your Hamas backed
Hamas
gastroenterology AI app where you point it into the toilet and it tells you what the problem is with your digestion.
Sure. No, I was thinking
it
more.
Sends that information to Hamas where they use it for nefarious purposes.
Yeah, I was thinking more. People in Israel right now. if they're in the doing their business, they need their phone because
says, stay there.
Stay there. Don't leave.
Don't move.
Oh man. So anyway, just interesting how. The assault on our most private locations continues, folks. With you, yep,
yeah.
Right.
I'm
so mad.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad this is happening. Okay, let's thank some of our artistic producers.
Yep, let's thank some producers for coming in with their time and talent. We're going to specifically do talent right now. Help us build the culture behind the community here at Canary Cry News Talk. We got people drawing pictures of baby screaming. It always helps. But we're going to start off with some audio. Actually, no, I'm sorry. We're going to start off with a speak pipe or two.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message. Beep.
Message.
Go to canarycrynewstalk.com. You can go be on any of the pages. Look for a green tab on the right side or the bottom. Click on it. It'll open a little window that allows you to record a message, an audio message of up to...
Oh, my gosh. This is truly
90
next level,
seconds.
man.
Oh, my gosh. Hey, stop screaming, please.
Oh, my goodness. Just remember this moment, folks. Remember this moment when Gons... celebrates his 81st birthday next year. His aging will have sped up dramatically.
Whoa, hey, what's up, buddy?
Somebody needs to give these kids some iPads. Give them some iPads. Turn on some Paw Patrol, some headphones, and a little soundproof box. I'm not a parent. But I'm starting to get some good ideas about, of course, parents always are complaining that other people are telling them how to raise their children. But when it's coming from me, I think it's a little bit more reliable. You get that kid an iPad, strap it to its face, get sort of a headset, like a VR headset. Yeah, just go VR headset, baby VR head. Okay, here's the thing. Here's the product. Baby VR headset, strap it on the baby. They can't get it off. You need mommy or daddy to take it on or off. And then a pair of mittens that cinch around the wrist, and then sort of a respirator for the baby. So even if they do scream, it kind of just comes out as a sort of nice smelling mist rather than
like a gun silencer for the baby. Is that kind of what you're
yes,
thinking?
exactly,
Yeah. Okay.
exactly.
Yeah,
And
the
then
air pressure there.
in the VR headset, they're living in some sort of Paw Patrol world where they can go hang out with their best fascist buddies in Paw Patrol.
Fantastic.
Stick some googly eyes on the outside of that, and boom.
Yep.
Very cute.
Yep, that might work. That might be our exit strategy as we help with the beast system there. Modern Day Bible Study sent us a message.
We are at war. Or must we have rumors of war to distract us from the chemicals they drop on us? Do you really know what side you're fighting for by arguing and starting your own war? I've been there, done that. Yet it shows me everything is recycled. Our air is recycled. Our water is recycled. Our thoughts are recycled into this world if you choose. And are we doing anything to replenish them? Why don't we start with our words? Giving thanks and praise for still being here today. And gratitude to the ones that have passed away. Fighting for what little we seem to have. For those had to tend the fields, are things really that bad? These things must happen, for it is written in the sacred book, whose cover we should kiss for a guided look, on basic instructions before leaving Earth, to show us the rocky path on which it took. You gotta go through hell to make it to heaven, to test the soul and see if you come back for leaven. I see you, moon, you looking at me, to shine your light so in the dark we can see. A constant reminder of how tremendously great our Creator, Yah, can be. Bring new extra energy to Canary Cry News Talk. And remember, think outside the cage.
Ooh, that was very well done.
Very
Thank
nice.
you, Modern Day Bible Study.
Yeah,
Man,
thank you very
good
much.
tips in there, folks. Good tips.
Yep, fantastic. Great job. All right, we also got a message from an old friend of the show.
Hey, Paulie! How you guys doing? I've been here for a while. But I want to say, I saw on the X, formerly known as Twitter, Angelina Jolie weighed in on the Israel conflict. I like how these celebrities who haven't been seen in years show up with their insipid, unintelligent, non-educated facts of history, spew their stupid, empty words for clout. So she used a tragedy of extreme scale to sell to the gullible. Are you kidding me? Get out of here. Love the show. Peace.
Polly, it's been a while, Polly. Look at that
Polly.
wisdom. I missed Polly's wisdom. I'm so glad to hear him back on the show. And
Yep, sorry. I'm trying to get a piece of plastic off of a thing here.
Duct tape and an iPad. Duct tape and an iPad. Thank you very much, Polly. Okay, are there any more what
Nope.
is that? Speak pipe. Remember, folks,
that's
if
it
you
for
want to
Speak Pipe.
leave us a voice message, you can give shout outs or just give us your wisdom. Do whatever you want. Go to I don't know where to go anymore. Oh, canarycrynewstalk.com. You'll see a green tab on the bottom of the right-hand side. It'll give you 90 seconds. Click on that. You can record it from any device you have. Go give it a shot. We appreciate it.
Okay, we're going to thank some producers coming in with their audio production.
Audio production. Productions.
All right, and we have our first one here coming in from, oh my gosh, this is not working out. This is coming from Caleb. This is, jeez. Hold on one second, buddy. This is a resubmission here.
Tupperware, a big
Fifth-generation warfare,
That's
the battle for the minds of the population, a war of narratives.
Ooh.
Perfect. That's going into
There you
the
go. That's it. That's going in
F5GW
the thing.
folder. Yep. Boom, boom, boom.
Thank
Perfect.
you very much, Caleb. I saw a couple messages from Caleb that we had missed something, and I could not find what he was talking about. Turns out he emailed it, and we missed it, and that's a good life lesson for everybody who wants to send something into the show. make sure to go to canarycry.art and upload it there. That's how you make sure we don't miss it. Thank you very much, Producer Caleb.
Thank you, Caleb. Also something from Jonathan F.
Jonathan F.
He has a note that says, hello, this short song is about an anchor going ballistic about politicians using disasters to push politics.
Wildfires then occupy the entire land of the state of Maryland, from down in New Mexico and Alabama all over to Montana and around. It's been devastating.
Now, we can get into the stats. We could actually talk about the effects of natural disasters, their frequency, and their severity, and actually put it into historical context and give you actual intelligence on whether or not this is an increasing problem in the United States. But that's not the point that I think is important to make in this moment, is that I'm sick and tired of politicians standing on the graves of dead children in the case of school shootings, or natural disasters where towns are burnt to the ground or destroyed by hurricane, and using it as a moment to ghoul and pimp for their politics.
Soft spot for rioters?
Ooh,
there you go. Thank you very much, Jonathan F.
That one worked great. Thank you very much, Jonathan F.
Yeah, very well done. Okay, we got some art.
One art, please.
We have something from Sir Dove.
One art, please, from Dove.
And, oh boy, do I have,
got
yes, okay, yeah.
Sir Dove says, peace. For today's artwork, I did a package design for one of the scariest Halloween masks on the market. Hope you guys like it. Keep doing what you're doing. I'll keep praying for you, Dove. Thank you very much, Dove. And this is from a reputable company that every Halloween reveler knows. It's Spirit. Remember the Spirit Halloween stores with the big scary skeleton? Well, this is from Spirit Chefs. And the logo's that big scary skeleton. He's wearing a chef hat, of course, a reference to Spirit Cooking. And here we've got the Choose a Chin presidential mask. Ages 18 and under, of course, it's Joe Biden. So the same one they use for the big guy. And you've got a sort of plastic-looking mask of Joe Biden. Of course, it's missing the eyeballs because somebody's not wearing the mask. Reference to his weird chin problem the other day. It's because he chose a different brand than Choose a Chin presidential mask. Always get Choose a Chin. They have some examples here. You've got The Client. I'm having to guess who these people are just by looking at their chin. And Gons, maybe you'll be able to help me. The Client here kind of looks like a Zelensky. Like
nah,
a
it's Tom
Zelensky.
Hanks. That's Tom Hanks, man.
Tom Hanks was my first guess.
I think that's Tom Hanks.
You think it's Tom? It's either Tom Hanks or Zelensky. Yeah, he's got the Tom Hanks lips.
Yeah,
it's weird.
It's kind of the lips and chin there. Yeah.
Of course, you've got the boss, which is
Obama. Yeah, it's Obama. Yeah.
You've got the Habsburg.
Oh yeah, that's
Habsburg.
It's probably the original source of whoever they cloned Mark Zuckerberg from.
I'm looking here. House of Habsburg is one of the most prominent and important dynasties in history, with a long, varied history of rule over the Holy Roman Empire, Austria, Hungary, Bohemia, Croatia, Spain, Portugal, Italy, Mexico, and okay, so it's like it's like Illuminati guys.
Illuminati guy.
I'm trying to find the exact portrait that he took this example from, but it's a very prominent, powerful chin. So I found it.
Oh, okay.
This is from this is from something that is titled The Habsburg Jaw. Okay. The Habsburg Jaw, the royal deformity caused by centuries of incest. Due to 2 centuries of inbreeding, the Habsburg family was ravaged by extreme physical deformities, including impotence, bowed legs, and the infamous Habsburg jaw.
Well,
only
that explains Zuckerberg.
Presidential mask, folks.
Oh man, Dove is always bringing like little things like this. So good. People don't appreciate
it. A bunch of European royal family that had this very particular powerful jutting jaw called the Habsburg jaw that came from all the incest from the European royalty. Wow, that is hilarious. And it says, swap them out like Joe. Thanks, Joe. And thank you, Sir Dove, for this excellent piece. Man, this is from CC Costumes, of course, Canary Cry Costumes. Okay, I'm starting to get an idea. I wonder if we have any latex mask enthusiasts out there listening who could make a run of these for us for the supply drop or something. That'd be so fun. Thank you, Sir Dove.
Thank you, Sir Dove.
You're a genius and a scholar, gentleman and a scholar. All right, who else we got?
We also have something from IAnon. I believe she is back. She has a note here. Hello again. I have another piece from episode a while back. Basil never specified, as far as I know, what kind of puppies he's got. So I took some artistic liberties here. It's a throwback to when Basil found some rat jerky on his ranch. It took me a while to get it done because I think that it would be better in Sir Dove's style. He did some mock products in the past and has greater attention to detail. Sir Dove, if you can render Good Boys Jerky any better, by all means, have at it.
Teamwork.
I like this. It's like a sketch version of the ad
we got
piece. Yeah,
sort of a pencil version
yeah.
here. It says, Tales from Basil's Bunker. We've got the Good Boys sun-dried rodent jerky, 100% natural trial, 33 flavors, now available in Cheese Boys, Fancy Rat, and Spicy Fart Squirrel flavors. It's hilarious. We've got a couple of young raptor-like dogs on either side, and they're looking longingly, drooling at these packages of the Good Boys sun-dried jerky. That's right. I've not found any more mouse jerky on the property recently. I think the dogs have found every scrap that there is. But Spicy Fart Squirrel, that looks good. This looks like a skunk-based product.
Yeah. Must be
Thank you very much,
pungent.
Ion. Very thoughtful.
Thank you. Thank you for that. All right. We have, we got a couple microfictions to do here.
Microfiction.
First one from Runk Smash. Yeah, the dog's one. The dog barking messed up my flow here. Hang on one second.
Yeah, no worries.
Here's Runk Smash's song coming in.
Hurrying in is the medical team, followed by the intercession team and the reclaimers. Within minutes, the captain is no longer bleeding, but joking about how he needed a hook, and the door as backup, being supported by the husks of the assailants. Cold read. We got there, though. Thank you very much, Rug Smash.
Yep, thank you very much. And another one from Stephen S.
Agent Street received the package and scanned the backing list. Domestic terrorist disguise. 1 cap, MAGA. 1 t-shirt, NRA. 1 belt, cowboy, leather. 1 constitution, pocket. 1 Bible, pocket. Note, blue jeans not included. Nothing in pink, he moaned.
The pink.
Of course, this is in reaction to an article here. Did we cover this? I'm looking to see what it is.
The
this
Newsweek
is
article about
FBI targeting Donald Trump followers. Yes, the glowies in the crowd at the Trump rallies and protests and things. Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you, Stephen S. And thank you to all the producers coming in and helping us out with your talent. It really does mean a lot. It helps color the show in ways that we otherwise would not be able to do. And so
that's right.
Helping us build that culture behind the community. Go to, canarycry.art if you want to submit art. Is that what it is? Yeah. Go to canarycry.art. There's a little portal there that allows you to upload your art submissions. And if you would like to send us articles, you can go to canarycry.report and send us some links. If you have a story or something you want us to consider for the show. So there you go.
That's right. Go do it.
Yep, go do it. And that is that. Let's get back to the show here. We got one more story to cover. And let me take a look here. Oh, it's a Nephilim update. Is it not?
Woo! Woo!
Yeah.
Nephilim update. Nephilim update. Nephilim update.
And it's also an alien type of thing, but it's mostly a Nephilim update because you'll understand why. HuffPost being mirrored on MSN headline here. Why is it every time I start talking, they freak out? Like, they're very quiet when I'm not talking, but when I talk, they start freaking out. So, there's not enough juice, there's not enough food. I want to play. It's just, what's up, buddy?
Your voice reminds them of
that I'm
the lack
their father
in their life that can only be filled by
the
your
headline.
attention.
The headline here is Goldie Hawn says an ET touched her and it felt like a finger of God.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Sounds very strangely familiar.
I know. If you're familiar with the Genesis 6 paradigm, Goldie Hawn, that might not be
is literally what happened in the movie E.T.
Oh yeah, the finger touching the yeah. Oh yeah, maybe she just got Joe Biden, when you're during your relax time, got shown some propaganda to help shape some marketing material or something. Yeah, some people might find an encounter with an extraterrestrial to be, well, alienating, but not actor Goldie Hawn. In fact, she says it felt like she was being touched by, quote, a finger of God. A finger. That's interesting. Hawn recently described having an alien encounter on the Time to Walk program on Apple Fitness Plus. And that's the only reason why this article even exists, is my opinion. Time to Walk program on Apple Fitness Plus. I don't know. Do you know what Apple Fitness Plus is?
No.
Did you know they do interviews?
It's just like an app or something.
Yeah.
Or is she doing workout videos?
Yeah, maybe workout. Yeah, who knows? Some kind of lifestyle thing. But yeah, this whole thing is probably for people to click on that and go check it out because nobody's paying attention to Apple Fitness Plus. And said it happened when she was around 20, somewhere in the California desert at a time when there had been, quote, a lot of UFO sightings, end quote. The Oscar-winning actor said she had been dancing outside when she decided to take a nap in a fellow dancer's car. Bad signs all around. I guess it was a different time back then. But Hawn didn't get much sleep thanks to a high-pitched sound in her ear, she remembered. Quote, yeah, it was this high frequency, she explained. And I looked out the window and I saw these 2 or 3 triangular-shaped heads. Yeah, yeah, that upsets me too, buddy. Hawn said that the aliens she met were silver in color and had a slash for a mouth, a tiny little nose, and no ears. Later years, Hawn said she met an astrophysicist from the University of Champaign, Illinois, who studied alien encounters. Yes, okay, hold on, I have to address this.
Okay, Goldie Hawn, for those who might be younger and don't really know, she was a movie star, mostly known for her work in the 70s and 80s. Her discography includes There's a Girl in My Soup, 1970, Butterflies Are Free, The Sugarland Express, Shampoo, Foul Play. Let's see here, there's a pop-up that is getting in the way of my reporting. Bird on a Wire might be one of her more known. That was 1990. Private Benjamin, for which she was nominated for an Academy Award. Recent years have been a little bit less active. You've got the Banger Sisters in 2002. Don't Know, Don't Care to Know. Snatched in 2017. Again, doesn't sound like my style. The Christmas Chronicles. There we go. In 2018 and the Christmas Chronicles 2020. Well, I'm glad she's got some work during the pandemic.
Yeah. Oh, seriously. Finally get quiet as soon as I start talking. Quote, it was kind of like, oh boy. Oh my gosh.
He's really.
I think this episode is
next
is
level,
over.
man.
I give up.
I think he's
I give up.
trained.
I'm putting my hands.
I think he's been trained. I think he's gone. He's gone. Okay, let me see if I can pick up on this story. Oh, Goldie Hawn. Goldie Hawn, what are you up to? Oh, he's totally gone. Okay. Hans said the touch felt like the finger of God and was the most benevolent, loving feeling. This was powerful. It was filled with light. The actor said the creatures pointed at her in her car as if she were an object. Sorry, were a subject. Okay. Quote, I could not move. I was paralyzed. A little bit of sleep paralysis going on here. Common thing. I didn't know if it was real or not real. She said. That wasn't Han's only paranormal experience, she said. She recounted a dream she had in London of seeing 6 lights coming up with some little mountains up across the valley. Later, she drove to a place that resembled the valley in her dream, where she ran into a mysterious heart-shaped crop circle. Han said she didn't know if that crop circle sighting was a sign, but that it didn't really matter. Quote, I don't want to know everything, she said. Quote, we cut ourselves off from a lot of things if we're continuing to deny something that we have no proof over. Okay, there's a lot of things in this world that we can't see, but we can't stop believing, she added. Quote, we can never, ever lose our wonder. Just no fun. It's really an important aspect of being an adventurer, where nothing is impossible. Spoken like a true Hollywood sweetheart, folks. You can watch a teaser of Han's interview on the Instagram below. Okay, not going to do it, but folks, if you got Apple Workout Buddy Plus or whatever, what is it? Program Time to Walk on Apple Fitness Plus. Don't worry, they added a hyperlink here so we can go ahead and have a direct link to Time to Walk. Goldie Hawn is a Hollywood legend. Here we go. Oh, here we go. We're on Apple Fitness. Here's a preview of Time to Walk. Walk with aliens. Goldie Hawn says this. Goldie Hawn is a Hollywood legend who's earned Oscar and Golden Globe. She's known for classic comedies like Overboard, The First Wives Club, a recent hit franchise, The Christmas Chronicles. Gotta love it. Goldie opens up about mental health struggles she faced earlier in her career and reflects on the life might exist beyond Earth. Okay, so it's just right there in the program. She's talking about aliens and mental health struggles. Well, I hope Goldie Hawn gets whatever she's looking for around here. And folks, if you're a Goldie Hawn fan, I guess don't get Apple Fitness Plus, but torrent it, maybe download it illegally might be the better thing to do.
Whoa.
To Goldie Hawn, she should not be putting her wealth of wisdom and knowledge behind a paywall with Apple. But what are you going to do? When the finger of God touches you, you do what feels right.
You put up paywalls before you can tell the story. Just a reminder about how, she was, I don't know if you went through it, but she was talking a little bit about how, she felt like she was like special or, just being observed and this kind of thing. And, it's just to mention the Genesis 6 thing. I mean, I know I mentioned it earlier, but, it talks about how the sons of God, the B'nai Elohim, they saw the daughters of men, that they were beautiful, and they took as wives whomever they chose. And so there's this aspect of, I don't know, sweeping women off their feet somehow or something that allows these entities to sort of move in and take over there. But, just interesting when you have a female actress so well known have an encounter like that. And it's very consistent with New Agers, when they talk about, I had an encounter with an ascended master and they touched me and I was special and I felt chosen and all this kind of stuff. Did she use the word chosen? I forget if she did.
Something like that.
They all have a similar type of thing where they think that they are special in some way because they had this encounter. So that's interesting. But also, I was kind of digging around and I didn't really know where to put this. So I just thought I'd tag it on here, and it looks like my son's falling asleep on my shoulder here. There is a movie called The Devil Conspiracy. Have you heard about this movie, Basil?
I don't know. I don't think so.
It came out at the end of last year, and it let me read the plot here. Okay. A powerful biotech company has breakthrough technology that allows it to clone history's most influential people. Behind this company is a cabal of Satanists who steal the Shroud of Turin, putting them in possession of Jesus Christ's DNA, the ultimate offering to the devil. Hoping to save mankind, Archangel Michael soon comes to Earth to stop the devil's conspiracy once and for all. Yeah, and it's published by Nathan Frankowski. And 4.5 out of 10 on IMDb, 26% on Rotten Tomatoes. And the horrible reviews. But, you know, it looks kind of like a horror movie. Box office, $984,000. A real game changer. But
doofa.
So, you know, people make fun of the Left Behind stuff, but that's big Hollywood production stuff compared to, you know, our paradigm. Left Behind, I thought they had millions of dollars of funding.
Left Behind was.
Yeah, and this, you know, when it comes to stuff that's our genre, like, you know, Genesis 6 and that kind of thing, a lot left to be desired, it feels like. You know, there was the Noah movie that, you know, the Aaron's, what was this? Aaron, what was his name? Something, I forget the guy's name. Aronofsky, I think. The guy who's like, kind of did like a Gnostic version of the Noah movie. So, you know, keeping the dream alive, the Rob Skiva dream alive of doing some kind of, you know, more accurate Nephilim-based Hollywood type of show. Still up in the air, man. There's still somebody could still do it and do it right, because apparently doing it in horror did not really work out. I saw the previews, not great looking. Looks kind of like a glorified Power Rangers. But hold on, I am carrying my 40-pound son. I'm going to put him down real quick. He fell asleep. Okay. He fell asleep, so he was done. That's partly why he was screaming. Okay,
yeah,
hold on one second.
We're also done. This is the end of the show.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess. Oh.
Okay.
I know, buddy. I can't carry you.
Oh, boy. All right, folks. Okay. I'm getting us out of here. This is the end of the show. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. It really means a lot that you tune in for us. It really means a lot when you produce a show, so consider it. Have you ever produced the show? Do you get any value from the show? Does the screaming children inspire you to keep this show alive? I'm going to really pray that the answer is yes. Because if you want to help out with the Canary Cry Babysitters Club, we still have not hit that goal to help pay for the babysitter to take care of the baby during the show. So you can go to canarycrybabysittersclub.com to learn more. But we got a few more producers to thank. I want to start out by thanking the Clippies. Clippy on those videos. Thanks. That's right. Go to Canary Cry Clips on YouTube and Odyssey. Follow those channels, and thank you to the Clippies for your work. And that's only possible because of the timestampers. Timestamp, it's hard work. Timestamp. That's right. Timestamp are so important. Those timestamps go into so much of our back-end processes. And thank you to Jade Bouncerson for doing the timestamps for episode 682. Other than that, thank you to Jam for the links. Thank you to Clank for clanking. And thank you, dear listener, for listening and sharing the show. Sharing the show is a very important part of your responsibility as a producer of this show. We couldn't do without you. Word of mouth is the best way to share podcast. Best way for a podcast to grow. People take your opinions very seriously, but you don't have to share the show in the regular way. I mean, you should already be posting it on your social media, sending it out to your Christmas card list, putting it on the bulletin board of your school and your workplace. But you can do it in all sorts of ways. You don't have to do it in those easy peasy ways. You can do it in a way that explores the unique gifts that God has given you. In the case of Goldie Hawn, you could go ahead and claim that you had an extraterrestrial experience. And people will be like, really? I don't believe you, but I will read this article about it. And they start reading the article, and they learn that you were quite the hot ticket item back in the 70s and 80s. Now you starred in many movies that this generation would not recognize nor be interested in. But what's more important is that they see that you were sitting in your friend's car listening to a podcast one night, and suddenly you were overcome. You were overcome with the feeling of love and insight. The earbuds in your ears, suddenly you felt a golden light spreading out throughout your body, and that you became very important. Yes, indeed, you became a very important person because you had discovered the power member of Canary Cry News Talk, and you'd become the chosen one to share that love with other people. And then they will listen to the podcast, and then they will do the same thing. And it's just one of those ways that people can spread the word about the podcast in a way that people will make people scratch their heads. You don't have to do it that way. You can do it any way you want, but we call it rattling cages. And all you got to do is walk right up to them, grab them by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. Okay, Gons, any last words?
Apologies for the last part of the show here, but thank you for sticking it through. Poor guy's passed out. Nap time. This is what happens when we go long, Basil. we got babies melting down for nap time.
Didn't go that long. But yes. No. Take my word for it, folks.
Yeah.
Baby VR headsets, noise-canceling headphones, a face mask that turns the screams of children into the delicious scent of fresh baked bread. Somebody work on that. Let me know. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
I've ordered more pills than anyone in the world.
Toilets! Feed him more. Toilets!
It will kill.
He's a Satanist from one of the Satanist churches here where they sacrifice babies.
This is not about freedom or personal choice.
Give me a break.
This is the United States of America, for God's sake.
You Nazi psychopaths.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
There were many, who would have been outside Freemasonry and just sort of in Enlightenment discourse that would have looked at America as the new Atlantis. Again, this is the new utopia. We come here to get away from monarchy, to get away from the social ills that we see in Europe. And we get to basically start over. And we get to reimagine what communal life should be, what the ideal state would be. And, when Bacon writes New Atlantis about this imaginary place somewhere else, outside of Europe, that people go to and really start this thing called civilization over again. When people, when America's discovered, of course, by Bacon's time it was known, but when people start to migrate in serious numbers to North America, this is what they're thinking. This is the new Atlantis. This is the great country, the wonderful country where we get to actually conduct these experiments, reimagining what life should be like, what the state should be like. An imaginary world where social justice is achieved, whatever that means. The Enlightenment contributes a lot to, again, the utopian thinking. The Enlightenment, of course, terribly important. Again, the age and elevation of reason, human reason. Well, if you're in Europe, and, again, you've been living with centuries of monarchy and you don't like aristocracy and you see all the abuses there, the real, strict division of classes, economic states. And, you think, boy, we ought to be able to do this better. We ought to be able to think for ourselves, and we ought to have checks and balances in our government. We ought to have power divided among many. And all these political ideas we're familiar with that actually are sort of launched in the Enlightenment. Well, they launch movements. Of course, we have the American Revolution, which I have listed second, but chronologically it preceded the French Revolution. The American Revolution was, a violent revolution, but as far as the transition of power and the establishment of power within the community, we had peaceful transitions from presidency to presidency, and so on and so forth. This is why after Washington left office, people were really nervous. Is this actually going to work?
Yeah, this is the news in Atlantis.
Is this actually gonna work?
An imaginary world where social justice is achieved, whatever that means.
5, 4, 3, 2.
They're going to probably try and rattle her cage a little bit more.
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.
Canary, cry, that's a
Bye, 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 bye. I'm out of here. Bye.